Welcome to Solace and Imran. I'm Noah.
And I'm Jamin.
And today we will be talking about an experiment. Okay. So I think you might have heard of this before because we might have listened to a creepypasta. What are you doing? Alright, so we may have listened to like the creepypasta sort of thing about it. So
I've listened to a few creepypasta things with you, so I don't remember.
Alright, so it's an experiment-based one. And the whole thing was the one that I originally listened to or read. I think I'm pretty sure I listened to it on Creeps McPasta. Right. Listened to all of them. That was a crow. So the whole basis of the one that I listened to originally was they get a kid who seems to be good at games. They start to pass a rumor around, making sure this kid would hear that there's a bunch of really good games, like in the back room. So if you keep going to certain machines and being good at it, you get invited back there. So the story went with like this one kid, he got invited back there, and it was him and one other kid. Now there was a whole bunch of games there that weren't like out the front games, and they were good games, and this kid was just playing on one. Slightly older than him. And then after a while of just he would go and play games and he might have a talk with that kid, they both got offered if they wanted to play this multiplayer game. And the base of the game was one of them was in one room and the other was in the other room. And there's like a wall between the two. They would be facing each other, but there's a wall in the way. So was it one of them would go through and have to, I think they had to answer something, and then if they got it wrong, they would get a shock, and they were simple questions, but if they got it right, the other person would get a shock. Now the more you got them right, the higher the shock went on the other person. The more you got them wrong, the more the shock went on you. Now, because they're such simple questions, and every time you got it wrong, you had to push the button. Every time, he asked, can I stop? And you have to push the button. Pushed it and electrocuted them to the point where, like, the person in the other room is yelling out, no, I'm dying, please stop it. But because they had to keep doing it, they pushed it until they heard nothing from the other room. And they tear it off and go and check the other room. And, well, no, they don't tear it. They take it off and they're crying, and then the person says, no, don't worry, come with us, we'll show you he's okay. They go over there, and he is okay. See, the shock whenever you got it wrong was the tiniest little shock. The reason he thought that it was so small was because, well, he'd only just gotten one wrong. But it turns out the little shock was all he would have ever gotten. The reason it increased for the other person was because it wasn't increasing. In fact, they weren't even being electrocuted. They were an actor who was put there to show if this person would keep pushing the button to electrocute them and how far would they go. They went to the point where they would kill someone. So this was a creepypasta. Obviously, like, what do you think of the creepypasta?
It doesn't sound real.
Well, what would I do? What would you do if I told you it is based off of an actual experiment conducted at Yale University? Not exactly the same. A couple things are different. Like it's not an arcade for starters. Now,
People are messed up.
Now, the reason they did this was he wanted to see. So you know how there was the death camps in World War II, and soldiers were told, well, for Germany, you have to shoot them all. And these people just shot them all. Now, we've always been told, oh yeah, they're bad guys and all that, but keep in mind, they are people, like they're not good people for what they did, but they had the choice to not it would have caused like a issue for them, but so would in this experiment. If you didn't answer, you got shocked. Both have a consequence if you don't listen. Yeah, so it was done by Stanley Milgram. So, and he was a psychologist at Yale University. So he did this experiment of there would be two
subjects, people, what?
Subjects, but volunteers. There'd be two volunteers who would come in. Now, in reality, only one of them is a volunteer. The other one is an actor. Yeah. Now, they would have to try and teach them something.
Did anybody, stop?
Alright, so, pretty much, the whole idea of it was one of them would have to teach the other person something, and if the other person got it wrong, then they would get a shock. Oh no, they were told to give them a shock. Now, every time they gave them a shock, they had to increase
But only one person was technically getting shocked, right?
Yeah, so when they first went in, they had to decide, they had to pick out who was the teacher and who was the learner. Now, the thing was, it was rigged, so the actor would always be the learner. So he would pretty much be the one getting shocked without actually being shocked, because he was just acting like it. Now, try and guess the results. So pretty much some people... So every time that they turned and said, do I have to? All they were told was for the experiment you have to continue. And then they would continue. How many people, try and guess how many people did not continue?
In a percentage rating?
Out of it, yeah, anything. Or go with fraction.
I don't think many would stop, though. How many?
1/3 stopped. 2/3 went to the point where they would have killed the other person.
People are messed up.
See, this just shows how much a superior figure has influence over people. Because, the scientist, all he said was for the experiment you must continue, and they continued to the point where they would have killed someone if it was real. The fact that it's that unreal of a thing that people make fake horror stories based off of it, that people think, nah, that wouldn't happen, but it happened at Yale University, a famous university. And
jeez, I hope people have changed since then.
The only things that the person conducting the experiment, which at this time was the guy I mentioned before.
Don't even know who you mentioned before.
Stanley Milgram.
Wow.
And the experiment is called the Milgram experiment. So Milgram, the only things that he would say to people were, please continue. You have no other choice but to continue. The experiment in order they went from please continue, then after the person would ask again, the experiment requires you to continue. Third one was, it is absolutely essential that you continue, and the fourth was, you have no other choice but to continue. So,
it does seem rather threatening.
Oh, yes. And it's a superior figure. It's somebody who is above you. And they're doing an experiment. You don't want to ruin the results or anything. Really, what you don't realize is,
you're the one being experimented on.
You're the result.
Yeah.
What you choose after these 4 prods is, prodding them to go along. What you choose after this is the outcome of the experiment.
And it turns out a lot of people will just kill somebody because they're told to.
Yeah. They're told by a superior figure, you have to kill them. Well, you can't argue with somebody who's above you, so...
If he said it more, like, blunt and, like, you have to kill them, I bet it would be way more of a percentage that wouldn't do it.
Oh,
but
I don't
to the
know.
point of, like, if it's just, like, they're increasing in shock,
Yeah.
it's sort of more of a thing to go by, but still, only a third, that's not much. Out of, like...
There was, I think they mentioned around 100, 300 people.
Only a third of that
Only
stopped.
a third. So if it was 300 people, 100 people stopped, 200 people continued to the point where they would have killed the person.
Right.
Like, this guy was showing how many people in America would respond the same way to influence as Nazis did in World War II.
What an experiment.
Yeah, and the fact that it was an actual experiment that took place, because I had known about the creepypasta for ages, and I was like, oh, that's a neat experiment, until just the other day, when I was mowing, listening to another podcast, Ear Biscuits, real good podcast, and they mentioned it was real, and I ended up thinking, okay, well, I have to look into this. And then since I hadn't done anything for a topic yet, I just made this my topic because I'm lazy.
Hey, I'm lazy. You saw, like, what was it? The sea sounds?
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, yeah.
Sea sounds.
This.
Sea sounds by the seashore.
No.
Let's be honest. Selling seashells by the seashore is a real bad business option. Like,
Yeah. Because some people could just be like, hey, I found a replica, I don't need your shell.
yeah, it's literally like, why would you sell seashells by the seashore? They can just go down and grab one.
Yeah, and who wants
Bad
one anyway?
business decision on their half.
And who wants one anyway? Unless they're really nice seashells.
Make a nice necklace.
But then just do that anyway.
Yeah, maybe they sell necklace seashells. Maybe it's already necklaced. Laced. Necklaced? No, we don't want it laced. Lace the poison. Lace it with poison.
Yeah, so when they put it on, it just absorbs into their skin.
Yeah, there's another thing. You must wear this necklace laced with poison. You must, for the experiment. How many people would put it on?
Then that'd just be that one person just like walks away, just puts it around the other guy's neck, walks away.
No, you have that, like, everyone denies, and you have that one person. Oh yeah, it's laced with poison.
Yeah.
Just quickly puts it on as fast as they can.
It's just like, here, put this necklace on. It was laced with poison as well. Sweet.
Cool, can I have another?
Go, give me all of them. It was like, do you need therapy? No, I need a coffin soon.
Oh. Yeah, so this is only one of the experiments that I was listening to that are real. Now, there's a few others, but I'm not going to mention them because I reckon we could do a lot more than just one episode of them. We could probably spread them all out.
But how? Because
Yeah,
you're going.
yeah, we don't know how this podcast is going to continue. It will continue, but it might not be both of us. We're still deciding what to do, I think. Unless we decided, I can't remember.
No, we didn't decide.
Well, we will decide. Laughing and emoing isn't a thing anymore, or as of yet. Issues with that.
But that was such a fun series to do.
We did 2 episodes, and
I know.
by the 3rd, we really had no idea what to do.
But those 2 were funny.
They were.
I thought anyway.
Yeah, they were fun to do, but
Runs out of topics pretty quick.
we ran out of topics after 2 weeks. It might be an on and off thing. Sort of. It depends on what happens with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's...
We got to figure a few things out. So hopefully, well, we will be. We'll do another one next week, and probably the week after. We'll figure out what happens with this by hopefully around that time. And that's been episode 10, the 10th one. Nothing special about the 10th one happened, but
Well, it was the only creepypasta one.
yeah. There we go. Originally, this channel was going to be to read creepypastas and analyze them, and we kept screwing up when going to go and write the script.
We did.
We still got to do that. That'd be good.
I haven't even read over it because I was just like, oh look.
Well, I think I still have it somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know where mine went either.
I have it somewhere around here. Can't remember where. I'll find it probably.
Did you just open that cupboard to sound like you were looking?
No, I
It
did.
doesn't even
I
look
did
like
look.
you go in there.
I looked. I thought I put it in here, but I couldn't see it first when looking for a second, so it's not in there. Somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, so episode 10 of Solus Anemone. Bye.
Yay.